Just a few more days and baby makes 5. I can't wait to meet this new little life, but my mind is spinning with questions. How is it possible to be at such odds within myself? You know the struggles we've had, the sleepless nights, the complications, the medical bills. You know the deep depression that nearly claimed me. I don't want to walk through that valley again. We're down to 1 income now. Even that has been cut by 6%, while our health premiums have risen by 25%. And this high deductible insurance plan, it's crippling us. We can't afford to pay everything out of pocket. We've already dipped into our savings to tithe, and now that's running out. It seems like we look around and see so many people who aren't struggling. Dual incomes, healthy babies, inexpensive health insurance. Some of them actually have it pretty easy, and they don't even realize it. We try to be faithful with what little we've got, but sometimes I wish we had a little bit more. Still, we have never been without. We've always had food on our table, clothes on our backs, a roof over our heads, and somehow we pay the bills. Thank you for providing for our needs. Help us not to become ungrateful by focusing on our wants. Make us strong, because sometimes it's hard to live by faith.
Faith. Faith is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. Too many people have bought into the lie that faith will undo cancer diagnosis. It will miraculously provide a lump of some money to get out of debt, or quickly restore a broken marriage by adultery. Has God in His perfect wisdom done just those things for people? Of course He has. Has He done just those things for every prayer lifted up faithfully? Of course He hasn't. Isn't it odd that we know faith is a necessary component of salvation, Ephesians 2:8. It must be refined and perfected, Hebrews 12:2. The trials are the means by which Jesus perfects our faith. And yet we are constantly pleading with God to remove the trial that He is using to bring our faith into maturity. Or more simply put, we know we must have faith, but we are constantly asking God to give us a reason to have it. Have we still not learned that the mountain that can be moved by faith, Matthew 17:20, is not something out there, but is actually within us? I believe, help my unbelief, Mark 9:24. I like the way Matthew tells the story of Jesus walking on water. That very evening of the day that He fed 5,000 men, besides women and children, with only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. See, He made the disciples get into the boat and go before Him to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, Matthew 14:22. Notice Matthew didn't say that Jesus simply told the disciples to cross the sea and wait on Him. No, He made the disciples get into the boat and go. And apparently there was some unwillingness to leave Jesus alone while they crossed the sea. And I'm sure they were thinking that it would be unwise to leave a celebrity alone in that desolate place. Matthew 14:13. See, Matthew knew he was going to tell us about the storm that would confront them that night. But he wanted to make sure we all understood that Jesus made them face it. Jesus already knew it was coming, and that they would be out there when it hit. Most of you know how the story goes. He went up on a mountain to pray for hours. The storm hit in the middle of the night. It must have been some kind of storm, as there were 4 experienced fishermen on the boat that couldn't get to the other side. Right in the middle of it, and there was Jesus walking on water towards them. The spray from the waves were so great that they weren't sure who or what was out there. So Peter challenged the figure they could barely make out. Lord, if it's you, command me to come to you on the water. Matthew 14:28. Jesus told him to come on, and he did, at least for a bit. Jesus saved him when he started to fear the storm and began to sink. When he and Peter got back in the boat, the wind ceased, and then they finished crossing over. Don't forget, He made them get into the boat and go. What if Peter, Andrew, James, and John, all professional fishermen, looked at the sky before getting to the boat and told Jesus that a storm was building, so it wasn't safe to cross the lake, and they would do it as soon as the storm passed? What if all the disciples had started praying in the middle of the trip as the first crack of lightning boomed and the storm had dissipated? What if they had just let the wind blow them back to the shore they departed from, and explained it later to Jesus when he came down from the mountain and saw them still on the shore? You see, then all the experience they had gained that night to serve and build their faith would have never happened. Most importantly, Matthew ends the story by saying that after the wind ceased, as Jesus got into the boat, they all professed, "Truly you are the Son of God." That's right, without the storm, there would not have been a profession of faith in the divinity of Jesus. Let's look at 2 Chronicles 7:14, which is a very popular verse these days. If God's people will humble themselves, seek him, turn from wickedness, and pray, there will be forgiveness and healing of the land. With the shape of America as it is today, it's no wonder that it's such a popular verse. Our land needs healing. Well, here's the thing. The context of that verse isn't what most people imagine it to be. It's actually not a time of hardship for God's people, but of celebration. The temple of God that David imagined and Solomon had finally built was being dedicated to God. 22,000 oxen and 120,000 sheep were being sacrificed, indicative of the prosperity of the times. A week-long feast was being held by everyone in Israel. It was good times. When the celebration finally ended and the people had been sent home, God appeared to Solomon in the night, and likely through a dream. After confirming that he would indeed brace the temple a house of sacrifice, he announced, 2 Chronicles 7:13-14. He announced, "When I shut up the heavens so that there is no rain, or command the locusts to devour the land, or send pestilence among my people, if my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray." Wait, so what? When God causes the drought, when God sends the locusts to devour, when God sends pestilence, that's when his people are to pray, humble themselves, and repent so that he can heal what he has brought to ruin? See, on the surface, it doesn't seem right, does it? If we humble ourselves, repent, and pray, then God will restore what he has broken? That's kind of like calming the storm that Jesus sent the apostles into, isn't it? See, faith is required by God, Hebrews 11:6. But there is neither the need for it, nor the opportunity for it to grow and flourish without life's storms. And surely the apostles came to realize that if Jesus could calm the storm in an instant, he could have prevented it altogether. But remember, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go. He made them face the storm that he had authority over. So my friends, if faith is a gift from God, Ephesians 2:8, then those things that God sends to test it in order to perfect it are gifts as well, even if they don't feel like gifts. So don't curse the storm, don't rail against the pestilence, and don't lament the election. Rather, count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet the trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. James 1:2-3. So remember, when you're trapped in that storm, be humble, repent, and just pray to God. Have faith in the one true God. And thank you for listening. I ask that you please remember to like and most importantly share this message. There is a PayPal link below in the description if you wish to donate. And until next time, God bless you and your families. Please be safe.